I'll just give 30 seconds to see if people can join. All right, well, we'll kick into it. I did this session last Friday and there's a lot to get through, but I didn't want to take an hour. So this is definitely a bit of a speed run workshop. It's open if you want to jump in for questions in particular. Ashley, Ross, you focus on driving. It's all good. But yeah, we'll go through it, and I'm always happy to catch up afterwards if there's anything that's unclear or you want to chat through anything in particular. But good afternoon now. Welcome to the second of the INCITE Awards Marketing and Brand Masterclass or Workshop, whatever you'd like to call it. The first peoples of these lands are, hey Karina, welcome.
Hi Jess, thank you.
Hey. We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we're dialing in from today. The first peoples of these lands were the first technologists and innovators, also the first storytellers. So I've learned a lot having moved to Western Australia from Aotearoa, New Zealand. But, you know, I grew up kind of immersed in First Nations culture in New Zealand too. And a lot of my way of storytelling has been influenced by gorgeous First Nations cultures, both, you know, in Oceania. So I'm on Whadjuk Noongar country, pay my respects to the Noongar people and elders past and present, and I acknowledge any First Nations people here with us. And if you're dialing in from a different country, I acknowledge the first custodians of where you're from. Congratulations, whether you're a nominee or a finalist. Congrats, because the first and hardest thing to do as part of any awards stuff is putting yourself forward. This is me. I'm Jess Etheridge. That's me in the blue dress. And next to me is my program co-chair, Cameron Zivkovic. We are the co-chairs of the INCITE Awards. This is our second year doing the gig. I was saying before we started, this is my third year as part of the INCITE Awards. So the first year I was on the committee and running the marketing communications, and then stepped up to actually do program management for my sins, which is why I asked Cameron to be roped in with me, because this is a big beast of a program. But both of us really care about having a positive impact on the world, and that's honestly the deep, genuine why we do this sort of stuff. We're also both board directors with the WA Innovation, Technology and Talent Alliance, which this is just a little bit about us. We're a not-for-profit and a non-political alliance that brings in the technology profession. We cover the whole life cycle, essentially, of a tech professional. We run these three predominant programs, but as an alliance, we're also a bit of an advocacy and network body. So Part for Dough is a fundraiser that we do in partnership with Perth Children's Hospital Foundation, so supporting young Western Australians when they need it most through technology and fundraising, through to our Game Changer Awards program, which is for student-aged, school-aged students to come and learn some science, technology, engineering and mathematics and be part of a STEM program that helps with their presentation and innovation skills. And of course, our flagship is the INCITE Awards, which this is its 35th year, and that's a lot to celebrate. You have all joined, if you've not been a nominee or finalist before, you've joined a great bit of heritage of Western Australia. This is just last year's team of the 13 teams who secured wins or merits at the INCITE Awards. When you win or get a merit, you get automatic entry to participate in the National I Awards, which is a huge reason people come into our program. And then through the National I Awards, depending if you win or have a merit, you get automatic entry into the Asia Pacific Awards, which is the international platform. So we had 13 teams do well at INCITE. We had 6 of them actually win or take merits at the Nationals. And then from those 6, 3 went on to the Asia Pacific Awards. And we had a winner. We had a gold winner in Norwood Systems, which is a true artificial intelligence leader. If you've ever screened a phone call and, you know, had something talk to people to understand if they're a real person or not, that is typically what Norwood Systems has created. So it's an amazing WA tech innovation. You can see Dr. Pascal Elahi on there too, who's part of Karina's team at the Pawsey Supercomputing Centre. an amazing team in WA, and I'm really proud that the team came back to nominate again. But it's just a great community, so you're part of a great story. So that's kind of what we do. And this is just a reminder. Tickets are available for purchase for the INCITE Awards, which is 6 weeks away today, which is giving me conniptions because we have so much event management to get through. But we'd love to see you there. Whether you're a nominee or a finalist, you're welcome. This is your community. You put yourself forward as a nominee, and we want to be connected with you. So make sure you get your tickets. You can purchase them on our website. So for today's workshop, and as I say, it's very quick, and it will be a lot of me talking, and I'm very keen if people jump in with questions at any time, just talk, cut me off, especially because it's hard to see sometimes in presenter mode. But what I'll go through, a bit about my background. I've been in this game for almost 17 years. I started as a journalist in New Zealand and worked my way up the ranks, and I ended up being the youngest chief reporter in the industry at the time. And I was looking after 6 journalists and 3 different newspapers, 3 different websites. I was doing socials, that sort of stuff. So I was part of that kind of move from traditional print into digital. And then I jumped into the dark side of PR and media, which is what journos call my profession now. But I help organisations and networks tell their stories. So I'll just be sharing my perspective and opinion of how you can maximise these channels and avenues for supporting you. So what I usually start off with is when I was a journo, we'd have a weekly or if not daily news meeting, and the editor would go around and go, what are you pitching? What are you pitching? And that was a really good way to learn how to be succinct. So if you couldn't summarize your story to the editor within about 10 seconds, he'd cut you off. He or she or they would cut you off and go to the next one. So it's pretty brutal as an industry in that sense, but it gave me a huge amount of grounding about being succinct. Every word means something. Can I summarize a story in 10 to 15 seconds? We live in an era of attention and either lack thereof or very competitive. You're competing for attention. So hitting people hard in those first 10 seconds. What are the 3 essential things people need to know about your tech innovation? I tend to say stick with 3 because research shows that people can't take in more than 3 messages when they're engaging with something. Any more than that, you start to confuse people, and that's not your fault. It's just how our brains work. So I tend to say have 3 key messages, your top line of like what your tech innovation does, what how that aligns with your industry or sector, and then the third usually being like what's the outcome that your solution achieves. When in doubt, I say revert to the 4 or 5 W's and 1 H. I can't remember, but it's there. I think it's 4 W's and 1 H: who, what, when, why, and how. And also the KISS acronym is always good. Keep it simple, stupid, even though that's quite rude that we insult people when we say that. Answer those first and then refine your story from there. What I'd say also on these calls and to INCITE nominees is that I volunteer doing this, but I'm always happy to provide a bit of advice. If you do have something you write up or prepare and you just want a bit of a sense check, I can do that. I can't do work for you, but I'm happy to take a look and just give some advice because, yeah, at the end of the day, having come from journalism, I know how the industry operates, and I just want to help WA tell its story. So, yeah, happy to keep in touch. One journo tip I've got there in the bottom is when you write a post or a story, so whether you're writing something for your website, your newsletter, or your socials, try and not have the first word be the or a. It's a really hard thing actually once you try and do it, but this was a thing that we did in journo school. Our tutor would always say, how can you write your first line of your story without starting with the or a? Once you get that down, it actually gets a lot easier, I would just say. But yeah, really challenge yourself. So once you've told your story, some people are using generative AI, and I've had so much good feedback about how we talk about AI in marketing that I'm considering, maybe through WAITTA hosting some community workshops again to kind of go more into how AI can be supporting you in your marketing and communications. These are the things I've learned since ChatGPT was born, and I use all sorts of different Gen AI tools, and from the different ones that I've used, these are the key things. If you're using AI, please think of it as a rough first draft. It's you've probably heard of AI slop. You've probably seen a whole bunch of it on LinkedIn. Everyone kind of reads and sounds the same now. The way to make yourself have cut through and to stand out is to make sure you edit that first AI draft. It needs to be personalized. You need to put language into it that you naturally use. People follow your story and want to know more about you. They don't want to hear about the robotic version of yourself. And honestly, like, I have had a lot of success with taking this initiative with it. When you're prompting Gen AI to provide you some words or copy, as we call it, ask it to write in Australian English, mainly because you waste so much time having to go through and delete Zs or Zs from your words. It's just to save you time. But also, those are a huge giveaway now that people are using generative AI. And you just want to make sure you kind of like keep a bit of the mystery and the smoke and mirrors up. Once people see Zs, they know you've used Gen AI, and it's starting to disengage people. Less emojis are better. Fewer emojis is better. I tend to say rule of thumb is no more than 2 emojis in a social media post. You see Gen AI prompt and provide and generate stuff, and it's got, the rocket ship and all sorts of emojis in it. And again, it's just it's disengaging people from what you have to say. The other thing is having those long M dashes, the long hyphens, are a major giveaway of Gen AI. Even if you go through and replace them with shorter hyphens or a comma, that's going to do a lot of work for you to make sure your message cuts through. And then there's these typical phrases that Gen AI is giving us in a rapidly changing world. It's not this, it's that. Any of that sort of phrasing, again, it disengages people. This is all be suggesting what not to do, because the ultimate goal of your story and using your marketing channels is getting that cut through and getting engagement with you. So if you take some of these and apply them, your engagement will be so much better, and people will actually be taking notice of what you have to say. And yeah, again, please jump in anytime if anyone's got questions. The second thing I wanted to focus on is socials, and it's such an important channel, and because it's free, you can do a lot with no budget. You don't have to pay for sponsored ads on LinkedIn or anything. Just putting out quality human content on those sorts of channels is going to do a lot. Also, because you're a nominee or a finalist in the INCITE Awards, people will come and look at your page. So from next week, we'll be putting out posts about who's a finalist in each category, and we'll be tagging people. So we will be sending hopefully some audiences to your posts, to your page. Making sure you've got this checklist sorted out is going to put you in good stead for when those eyeballs are going to come and look at you. So have you got your name and tagline sorted out? And we'll go into some examples after this. Do you have a website link on your LinkedIn page? People will want to go and look at your website and understand a bit more about you. Very important to have somewhere to send people. Have a summary about who you are, either on your company page or your personal page. And then the nice to haves, but I would still recommend, is having your experience, education, and skills sections filled out. The why, I've already kind of covered it. You're a nominee or a finalist in this program, which is happening right now. And so as a result of an engaged audience on our channels, we can drive a lot more engagement to yours. So you want to make sure that when people turn up to your page, they can kind of quickly get a understanding about who you are and what you do. Just give me 1 second. Oh, I have to talk heaps in these, and it's just hard. But anyway, we'll keep going. Adam Ferrier, who is a advertising and marketing leader in Australia and New Zealand, is often on the show Growin, which is on the ABC, which is a really interesting watch if you want to kind of get a behind the scenes look into marketing. I've taken an example of a post he's done to show how he's kind of using AI, but also keeping it personalized. So, he started off with something quite tongue-in-cheek. Will AI be the liberator of timesheet culture? Which is kind of funny. We all know timesheets if you have done them in the past. That's how he's hooked people. So he's used a bold statement to get that attention. He's also personalized it to say where and how he built this post. this post complete with an image took 2 minutes. I did it on my phone while he's in an airport lounge. I think it's just kind of, again, injecting that personal humor, but he's talking about something very topical. He's talking about AI, and he's just done it in a way that is very much true to him, but he's kept it very tight and bright. You want to make sure every word does something for you. And also the thing to know now with LinkedIn is the algorithm in the back end has changed frequently. As it stands at the moment, you will get more reach and engagement if you are putting out something quality that keeps people reading the post. They call it dwell time. How long are people dwelling on your post? So, every line counts. When you keep people reading, it's going to actually it's going to tell LinkedIn, oh, people are actually interested in reading this. And so we're going to bring more people to see it. So again, happy to take a look if you draft something and just give a couple pointers or let you know just my thoughts. It can't guarantee LinkedIn engagement. Don't hold me to that. I can't indemnify you in any way for that. But yeah, always happy to at least share my 2 cents. Yeah. The other thing is I threw it out to the team last week who joined on the first call. But yeah, a challenge is, can you post on LinkedIn about being a nominee or finalist within the next week? If you do, please make sure you tag the INCITE Awards, because what we do is we come and and we do a comment, and yeah, it's me behind that. So I'm always happy to come and say, hey, it's great to see you recognised, tell a bit of the story, and that will help bring people to see you too from our page. From a personal LinkedIn point of view, this is what I have shared previously. So we ran these sessions last year, so these are screenshots from last year, but a lot of this stays the same. And also I share these slides with you afterwards, so please don't feel you have to take notes or screenshots. You'll get these slides so you can walk through it. But as you can see, I've got my name, and that line underneath is the tagline. And that's basically, you want a shortcut for people to understand when they come to your page, what are they going to get? So I was running the INCITE Awards last year. I was doing growth campaign management for my day job, and I'm a board director with WAITTA. So those are the things I wanted people to see, because they're going to see posts from me about that. You can see I've added a visit my website button. That's, again, people will want to go and this is part of also verification that happens these days. There's so much AI out there that people need to go to 2 or 3 different sources to verify kind of you and what you're talking about. At the moment, that link to my website goes to the INCITE Awards website, because I want to drive people there to nominate. This is my about section. I've kept it to 3 sections, 3 paragraphs, because again, it's like that psychology research that people can't take in more than 3 messages. So the first one is a professional summary. So I tell people about my background, and at this point it was more than 15 years, and now it's coming up almost 17 years, because it's the passage of time. What is it? But talking about, I'm a journalist by trade. I have a passion for telling stories, and then how I do that now in my corporate job. My second is a bit of a personal message. So I talk about my volunteering with WAITTA and the INCITE Awards, but also my volunteering with other tech related groups such as Women in Technology WA. And then I use my third message, and this is my personal preference of how I do it, but my third message is my deep why. So I'll just go back a little bit so we can read them properly. My deep why is what underpins all of my work, my values, my behaviours, my ethics, my moral compass. And that's personally important for me as my personal brand, that people understand I'm a genuine person. I work in marketing. It's very easy for people to probably think I'm just here to sell something to them. But at the end of the day, I just want people to, have authentic storytelling and know that I lead with purpose. So I put in there about being an LGBTQIA person. And, again, that's a bit of what comes through on my LinkedIn. And you can see here an example of a post. So I used 2 different emojis. Yes, I put the drums 3 times, but still it's technically just 2 types of emojis. And yeah, there's some emojis down here, but it's more me showing my personality. So I led with the hook, which is, we had announced the finalists of last year's INCITE Awards. So instantly, having been a journo, I know that is really interesting to people. A bit of a gratitude thing from us as the co-chairs. a bit of a summary about what this last year's finalists were nominated for, and then I did a call to action. I had a link in the comments to people reading an article to figure out who the finalists were. So as you can see, I got 720 impressions from that, which was pretty good at the time. This year, I did do a post about the finalists, and I've had more than 1,500 impressions. So it's done a lot better this year, the post that I did. So it'd be interesting for me to compare the two. Again, I know I'm moving really fast, but I think it's more giving a download of some different types of marketing and comms channels and things that you can be aware of. And I'm always happy to chat afterwards or anytime if you'd like to go through anything in detail. But moving on to PR and media. So, of course, this is one where you need to probably have your ducks in a row more often than your socials and things like that, just because you're engaging with a third-party entity, which would be a media outlet or a journalist. The first thing I'll say up front is that you will never be allowed to read a story that a journalist writes before it's published. This is because it's an actual editorial policy, and also it could get a journalist sacked from their job. It's very much a global rule. Is because journos need to hold on to their editorial integrity. And if you show a story to someone beforehand, that person usually has the expectation of editing the article, which is definitely a no-no. So what I would recommend is if you have a PR and media team, go talk to them first. This is a lot of advice I give to a lot of uni and TAFE students who nominate an INCITE, because those organisations will have a PR and media team who will work with them to do that. If you don't have a PR and media team, we will be providing, as part of a marketing toolkit, a template press release, which you'd have to edit yourself, but there's placeholders and there's instructions on what to do. But you would be welcome to share that with local media to share if you're a nominee or finalist. We also do PR and media ourselves, and that usually goes out after the INCITE Awards, which is when we announce the winners. So you'll get that in the marketing toolkit, just to make sure your key decision makers in your organisation or your circle are aware that you're doing media engagement and understand what your key messages are. Sing off the same song sheet. If you have everyone in agreement of like what you want to put to journalists, you're going to be it's going to be smooth sailing. The worst thing is when you engage media and you put something out and there's someone, I don't know, in your organisation or circle who goes, that's not quite correct. Now we need to go and unpick that with the journo. It just really gets messy. So have all your ducks in a row, lined up in a row at the start, get everyone informed, fill out your template or talk to your media team, and then engage journos. But it's very much worthwhile to do that and to build healthy relationships with media. All right, we're coming up to time. So just summarising, and again, I know this has been really, really fast, and like it might be 101 or stuff that you already know. I'm not here to teach anyone or tell anyone how to suck eggs. This is all just my experience and things that I think will really help with getting you cut through in such a noisy world that we live in. So 3 key messages: keep it simple. People can't take in more. And if you put any more messages out there, it starts to just confuse people about what you're here to talk about. Do an audit of your social media and update those. As part of the toolkit, we send you some graphics and like badges that you can put on your socials or your website. Those are yours to use, whether you're a nominee or finalist. We do see people request these kind of assets because there's sort of like an award or finalist seal, and it helps with a lot of like investor engagement, building your brand and reputation. Again, verification. It gives people something to verify you. So we'll send you a website badge, a social media tile, which is in a LinkedIn format, but it can be used elsewhere if you want. You'll get a Teams or a Zoom background. It will be like this. It just won't have your name. It just has the logo. We haven't done an email badge this year, but I'm very happy to whip one up if people do want something. In that zip folder that you'll also get the press release template. And again, read those instructions on there, fill out the template where there's placeholders, and please feel free to come back to me if you want a quick eyes on that before you release it to the world. that's pretty much us for time. I'm happy to take questions if people have any. But yeah, the last thing I guess I'll say is make sure you get your tickets for the awards night, because I can't believe it's 6 weeks away today. But yeah, that's it. Any questions? As I say, you'll get a copy of this recording and these slides after this, and the marketing toolkit with all the bits and bobs. And yeah, I know I've kind of just whipped through it because I just don't think sitting on an hour call to go in depth on things is going to be helpful. And a lot of this is like, it depends. A lot of PR and media or marketing advice is it depends, like who you're talking to, what are your channels, what are you trying to tell people. So that's why sometimes you might dial into marketing things and not get super hard and fast answers, but I've tried to chunk out some really important things that will help as you start kind of exploring those sorts of things. But yeah, otherwise that's it. Happy if you have to go and drop off. I'm happy to stick around and have a chat if anyone's got questions, but honestly, that's it. Happy to give you back your time.
Ashley, you are muted.
Oh, we can't hear you, Ashley.
We can hear you.
I don't know why your microphone's not working.
No, it's the microphone not working. Yes, you're right.
No, bummer. Feel free to email me, Ashley, if you do have any questions, or type it in the chat. But yeah, otherwise, have a great weekend if you would like to drop off.
Thank
but
you,
also,
Jess. It was really useful.
No worries. All good. Happy to help.
Thank you. It was great.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks,
All good.
Jess.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Bye.
good weekend. See you soon.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
See ya.